In this K2 quick brief, I'm going to give you a quick overview of one of our application accelerators. This particular one is built for capital expenditure process. We'll take a deeper look at that as we go on here. So if you're not familiar with K2, we're a business process application platform that requires no code. And there's four pillars in our platform: forms, workflow, reports, and data. And I'll show you each of those as we go through the demo. So our application accelerators are pre-built solutions for different use cases within an organization. So a while ago, we took a look at our customer base and found the most common use cases, and we've built, like I said, deployable solutions that you can take and immediately put into your environment when you purchase K2. And those include everything from time management, document review, leave requests, and then today we'll be looking at the capital expenditure example. So a little bit about what you're going to see from a demo perspective. We're going to see forms and workflow, and there's a form that's going to do some calculations for us and gather information for capital expenditure request. And then we're going to route it through a series of users. We'll route it through a manager for approval, a cost center manager. We have the ability to escalate or route to different approvers based on the value of the capital expenditure, the amount that we're looking to spend. And then we've also got the ability during this process to send the request back for rework to the original submitter. We can also reject the expense for particular reasons. So with that said, let's go ahead and dive into the demo and I'll show you what we've got. So the interface that you're looking at here, I've hit from a browser and I'm actually talking to K2 Black Pearl, our business process automation server. And what you're looking at is something that we call the work desk. And a work desk is just a template for folks to get their work done during the business day. This particular one's been customized with a few different accounting and finance solutions like capital expenditure, time management, and expenses. But the sky's the limit on these. You can customize them. This particular one was customized for a sales team where we've got different forms to submit orders. We've got dashboards and reports that sales management can look at. But let's go ahead and navigate back to that App Accelerators work desk. And what you'll see when I first land in the within the work desk, I've got a list of all the different work items that I've been assigned. And you'll see that change as we go through the CapEx and we add additional work items. So let's go ahead and click on capital expenditures. What you're going to see is I'm going to, within the viewing pane here, the work desk, I'm going to see my capital expenditure application. And I've got three different paths I can take when I open this. I can initiate a new CapEx request, I can view reports, I can actually administer the capital expenditure application, and I'll talk a little bit more about that here in a minute when we look at the form. Now, if I look at this K2 Smart form, as I scroll down, I can see tasks that are assigned to me, any expenditure requests that are in draft mode. So I can actually open and start working on an expenditure request and save it. I can see ones that are in flight or ones that I've submitted. So we can see we've got a forklift for the Nevada warehouse and a portable generator as well. And I can actually view the status of those particular work items. And then I can see tasks that are assigned to me as well within my work list. In this example, I'm actually going to click and we're going to open the new CapEx form. And you'll see a couple things happen as this form comes up. It's actually going to auto-populate my employee details. This is one of the great benefits of K2 Smart Forms is the automation of data entry. So you can see I've collected my username, email, who my manager is, as well as a description of my particular user account. All of that, once again, automatically entered because it knows who I am when I log in. Down below, I've got my CapEx request details, some cost summary information, and then I've got the ability to break down the expenditure as well as attach any supporting documents for submission during my approval. Now you'll see that some of these form fields are actually drop downs. So if I look at the location, I've got a drop down. The cost center will actually run a lookup into a list as well, or a database item. How do I administer those? Well, if you remember, the initial form that I plopped into for the CapEx actually had an admin page that I could drive into. And this is the great thing about these app accelerators. I mentioned they're all-in-one applications. So you've even got administrative capability. So if I come in here, I can actually drop in if I want to add additional categories for capital expenditures, I can do that. If I want to go ahead and set up tiered approvals based on amounts of the CapEx request, then this will auto route during the process to different individuals. And then I've also got the ability in this case to manage the different cost center administrators. Okay, so I can route based on the cost center to different folks for approval from a management perspective. Now, this is just an example. These app accelerators are templates. If you want to link into your accounting system and it runs a standard database like SQL or Oracle, we can actually tie into that backend system and bring back your cost center lists or bring back your categories as well. So you can customize these as well. Okay, so let's jump back into the work desk and finish this up. Let's say that we're going to go ahead and we're going to buy a backup generator for our LA data center. Oops, got trouble typing today. And I can put in description, this will be for our DR strategy, so our disaster recovery strategy. I'm going to come in here and say, this is a Southwest expenditure. Um, if I want to come in and run a lookup to the cost center, I can look at all my different cost centers that I have. You can see that it'll list it out here. But I'm going to come down here and we've also got predictive typing. So as I type, if I tab out of the field, you'll see it runs a lookup to bring back operations. I can put in a project code and I can put in start and stop dates. And once again, we can customize these forms in any way you see fit. So if there's additional information you want, if you want to eliminate some of the info that's on this template, we can do that for you. So we'll say we're estimating a week on the project. This is going to be a new asset that we're going to purchase. It's of high priority. And then I can come in here, now that I've entered the request details, I can now come in and enter cost summary. So the model that I'm buying from Caterpillar is $300,000. It's going to cost us $10,000 in piping and wiring to get it up and running. From an ongoing perspective, it's going to be 12 grand a year in testing fees as well as fuel. And then there's no other lease or expenses on this particular item. Now you'll see as I went through and put these different values in, it actually ran up a total for me of ongoing costs as well as my total cost. So I've got calculation capabilities in here, and the sky's the limit. So without code, we can add calculations based on fields and kind of drive your information, make it easier to automate this process. So as I come down here, let's go ahead and add into the expenditure breakdown. We're going to say that this unit is 250 grand, and oops, sorry about that. So main generator unit is 250,000. The tax rate is going to be 8%. You'll see it's going to calculate my sales tax as well as my total cost. And then I can come in here and put in a book life. Let's say it's going to last us 10 years, and it'll auto calculate depreciation for me. So once again, taking the pain out of using your calculator and manually doing this or doing this in an Excel worksheet, we can do it all within the form here. So let's go ahead and add another piece. We got the fuel upgrade, which gives us bigger tanks, and that was 50,000. And that's also taxed at 0.08, and that's also got a life of 10%. So you can see it's doing a couple things for me here. It's actually not only calculating line item totals, but calculating summary totals as well, which is very helpful. And then we'll go ahead and add some supporting documents. So I can go ahead and click into my control here, and it's actually going to open up a window and let me pick the documents that I'd like to add. So I'll go into my downloads, And I'm going to go ahead and navigate in here, and we'll come into the samples, and you can see I've got a quote on my cat diesel. So I'm going to upload the quote with all the details on what we're purchasing, and I can add additional documents as well. We'll just say pricing info here. When I'm all done, I can close it, I can save it. So if I want to go find some more things out, come back and open it up and work on it again, I can. But in this example, we're just going to submit. Now what's happening, we're writing all the data to a temporary database for the workflow, and we're going to start to process it and figure out how to route this. And you can see now that this request is CPX 3. All right. So when I click OK, it's going to actually take me back to my initial home page. And what you're going to see is that now it's actually updated my CapEx requests, and I can see all my requests. You can see it's been submitted to the cost center of operations, and I can look at all my details here. Now, if I came in, we have a function called the view flow, which is a really nice visual report. So if I click on this particular link, and I'm going to give you an example of that visual report that I talked about. So you can see that the CapEx process was kicked off. It's actually sent an email receipt to the participants, and right now it's sitting in manager approval. So when it's blue, I can, that's where the process currently sits. I can click on it. I can see who has it for tasking and how long they've had it. Okay. So this is a great way to figure out where the process is, who's got it for tasking, and it's with every single workflow. This is actually created automatically. So let's go into the work desk, and I'm actually going to open this form now. So I'm opening it as the manager. And as I log in here, I can actually see all the bits and pieces that were submitted. So you can see all the request details are there. I've got the cost summary information. I've got the attachments that I can click into to actually look at. Any comments that are created during the workflow by different participants will be shown here. And we've already talked about this, so I'm going to go ahead and approve it and say this was a required purchase to meet disaster recovery requirements. And then we'll go ahead and submit it. Okay. So now what's happening is that the task has been moved along, and if I take a peek back at my view flow, you'll see here in a minute, real time, this is going to update, and it's actually going to go to the next step. Now, because I didn't choose reject or rework, those steps turn red, and you can see now that it's gone to the cost center manager for approval. So if I double click in there, you can see that Cody now has it for tasking. And I can assign these tasks to individuals or groups of people. There's a bunch of different ways that we can dynamically assign based on workload and things like that if you have a bunch of people that are working within that department. All right. So now let's do something, and let's go ahead and log in as Cody, who's the cost center manager. It, review it. She's going to see the particular comments that we set up, and let's go ahead and navigate to her work desk. And as Cody, we're going to come in. We're going to go to that App Accelerator work desk as well. And as we log into that work desk, it's actually going to go to the K2 server and bring back her pending tasks. You can see she's a busy lady. She's got all kinds of tasks queued up for her. But here's that CapEx 03 task, and we're going to open that form. And when we open it, once again, we're going to actually see all the information for that particular request. And if we scroll down, we can not only see the original information, but we also see the comments as well as the action that was taken from previous folks that have been involved within this process slash workflow. So I'm going to go ahead and approve it as Cody. Click submit. And now what you're going to see is it's actually going to approve through Cody and go down to next approvers. Now there's some other stuff that can happen in the background here. It'll go through what we call a tier approval, which is an approval based on the amount of the request. And all these different users can approve or resubmit or provide for rejection or rework for that request. So this was a quick overview of one of the app accelerators, CapEx. If you have any questions or you want to see a little bit more in-depth demo, give us a shout at k2.com. Thanks.